So we've covered type on a path, and we've covered creating type, outline type. So now we're going to cover creating type that's warped to a shape. So we're going to recreate something similar to the Netflix logo. So there are two ways of going about it. And I'm going to go about the slow way, and then I'm going to first. So we're going to choose a rectangle. One of the reasons I'm going to go over the slow way is I believe it gives you a better result. The first thing I start off when I'm trying to create text that is warped is I need to create the shape that I'm going to warp the text to. So I'm going to start off by taking a rectangle, and then I'm going to take the anchor point tool, and I'm just going to bend that rectangle up until I like the shape of it. And that's what I'm going to warp all my letters to. And I say warp, but I'm actually going to draw all the letters individually. So I'm going to decide on about how wide I think the letters should be. I'm going to change this box to be a different color so I can kind of see it against the background. And then I'm going to hold down Option. I'm going to hold down Option as I move this, and that's going to create a copy of that box as I move it. I can hold down Shift, and it'll make sure that as I drag it to the side, it keeps it level. When I think I like the distance between the letters, I'm going to release. And I'm going to repeat that until I have all the letters I need. Netflix has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters. So we're going to do, I'm going to select this. And to copy this, I'm not going to click and drag again. I'm just going to hold down, hit Command D on my keyboard, and it's going to repeat the last action. So I need 7 letters. I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now as I look at the letters that make up Netflix, I notice that the I is going to be very thin. So I'm going to grab the I and make it much thinner than the other letters. It may also be that when you're doing yours, you have a letter that's much thicker than the other letters, so you'd have to grab that, make it thicker, and then adjust the spacing of the other letters to match. I'm going to zoom in and hope that my and I'm having a little bit of trouble because the smart guides are not helping with the spacing because the center of this is so close to lining up. So I'm just going to move this off to the side. And now the smart guides may help me even out this spacing. I can move it back now. So now I've got all my letters, but you notice that the width of this is not the exact same as the width of my shape. So I'm going to grab all these boxes that represent letters. I'm going to make it so that it is the same width as the shape. And extend it down. And I'm going to select everything at once. I'm going to go to the Pathfinder panel and divide it up. So now that this is divided, I can select the bottom parts. I can object ungroup it so I can select one part at a time. Select the bottom parts, delete. Select the top parts, delete. Delete the spaces in between. So now I'm really ready to get started designing. So from here, I'm going to think about this is going to be an N. So my line is going to be an N. So I'm going to create a triangle. Actually, I'm not even going to use this. I'm going to use the pen tool. I think that would be the tool to use. Actually, I'm going to use a rectangle. Decide on this is going to be my line for this section. This is going to be the line for this side. Take my rectangle, make it. I'm holding down Option again to just create a duplicate of it. I'm rotating it. I'm having trouble seeing where things should go, so I'm going to go to Window. Actually, I didn't have to go to Window. I'm going to just hit Command Y on my keyboard so I can see how things are going to line up. So that's going to look like a good N. So now I'm going to take this and create it, and I'm going to pull that over to make it E. Now, the bottom part of my E is going to end up being curved, as you can see. So I'm actually going to need two lines. I need one line for the top, for the here, and then at the bottom, I'm going to hold down and make another copy. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this part right here. So as I select, actually, we're going to do one or two more letters, so that we'll do the T. We'll do the F. I'm just holding Option, and I'm reusing the same shapes over and over again. And I found that by using the same shapes is both easier because I'm not having to recreate the same shapes over and over, the same width, and it's faster. Which if I could do it easier and faster, I'm going to try. So I got my last one, which is that X. So I'm going to take this over, I'm going to rotate it. So I really want to have the X stop along the top edge. So I'm going to, instead of just rotating around the center, use the rotation tool and rotate around this corner right here. And rotate it down. So now I can extend it. Getting closer. Once again, I'm going to rotate around this corner and rotate it until that lines up. Great. Do the same thing to the other side. Grab a line, rotate it around this intersection. Yeah. So as I'm looking at this, I think I made a mistake. I don't actually need these extra boxes. What I need is a duplicate of this curve right here. So I'm going to take this curve, I'm going to take this box, I'm going to hold down Option, I'm going to duplicate it and move it up just a little bit. Do the same thing here. I'm using this box not just as a guide, just to know how far up I need to move this box to. So I don't need this bottom shape, and I don't need this bottom shape. So you can kind of see, you might be able to see the lettering already, but we're going to start using our shape builder tool to really showcase it. Command Y, select everything, and I'm going to use my shape builder tool to delete what I don't want. Hold down Option, select the bottom parts of letters. Delete too much, so I'm going to go back. Do it in smaller sections this time, so I don't make any mistakes. So it's easier to back up if and when I make mistakes. I don't like the way I did this in. I probably would, if I had to go back, I'd do it similar to the way I did the X, but just for this tutorial, I'm just going to kind of continue through so you can get the idea. Now a lot of my shapes extended over, so I want to make sure that I'm deleting those extra pieces. I'm not leaving those behind. Those little pieces, those little things will help give my finished design a real sense of unity. make it. That's how we create a warped lettering.